Now we'll calculate the wind forces. Okay. Next we need to calculate the wind force. In order to calculate wind force, there are two methods here. Actually, this is a very small ESP. The other ESPs we have carried out, there are several translational frames in this direction, and also not of that height. The hopper, which is only restricted in this case to this frame only, comes down to bottom level. In that case, hopper and ESP as a whole provide a complete shielding effect, and it looks like a complete beam, looks like a complete closed structure. In that case, our normal force coefficient using CPE and CPI is taken care of, and in this case we'll be going for solidity ratio, because here our opening area is much more as compared to closed area. But later we'll be doing two methods, and whichever is higher we'll be choosing that one. Okay, so first let me open the code. So as you can see, in clause 7.4 of IS 875 part 3 2015, you can find the force coefficient. The force, wind force F, is provided by Cf into Ae into Pd, where Pd is the design pressure, Ae is the effective area, and F is the force acting on the effective area, and Cf is the force coefficient of building and structure. Okay, so our case is simply open type. So in that case, if I move to page 43, here overall force coefficient for tower type. Our case is tower type. And what is a tower type? It is something lattice tower type. Lattice tower means what? Suppose there is a structure like this, or any transmission tower type structure. So this is lattice framework type structure. Our structure more or less comes in that range also. Okay, so the force coefficient, it says the solidity ratio, and it says square tower or equilateral triangle. Our case comes under square tower case, because our structure is something rectangle or nearly square, you may say, in nature. Okay, it may be a rectangle. Ultimately the tower falls under square type. The solidity ratio, how to find out the solidity ratio? So here the solidity ratio at this level will be different than at this level. Why? Because if I take this area, what is the area? The area will be 6 meter multiplied by, let us say, 3.5 meter or 3.3 meter. Let us take higher area, 3.5 meter. It is 21 square meter. Okay, out of which what is the obstruction area? This beam, our maximum side is 3.5. okay, this beam is 450 depth. This is ISMB 450. This beam also ISMB 450. Since we are taking center line, so 225 from here and 225 from here, that means overall 450, and the length is your similarly the column is there. If I deduct the column dimension is mentioned here 450, so here also 450. So if I deduct 450 from 6 meter, then I'll be finding how much? 5.35 meter into 0.45 for 2 longitudinal beams. Okay, next comes your column. Your column size is 450 in this direction. So since we are taking half column, half here and half here, let us take one full column. Similarly, we have taken one full beam here. Okay, because half beam from here and half beam from here, this area, and in column we will be taking this area. We will be considering this frame only. Okay, so here column will be how much? The height will be 3.5 and the width will be 0.45 plus the bracing. The bracing will be coming how much? It is MC 250. MC 250 means it will be 0.25 into, let us say, the diagonal area, that is 6 square plus 3.5 square root over. Okay, sorry 3.5 square, 3.5 square root over into 2. There are two numbers here, so this comes approximately how much? 7.50 square meter. Okay, so this 7.5 is what fraction of 21? This is approximately 36%. Okay, 36%. If we move to this portion where the hopper is there, a very less open area is left. Okay, all other area is covered. So in this case, this 36% is called phi solidity ratio or 0.36. In this case, for the hopper case, it will be coming approximately 80%, and for open base below it will be lower, but generally wind above 3 meter we may neglect and we may consider it is same as the 36%. So here we find two cases. One is our phi is 80%, one is our phi is 36%. Obviously for 36% the load is higher. Okay, so we will be considering one case for this structure as 36% phi, and we will calculate the wind load, and also we will consider the structure as a completely closed structure up to this point, and we will calculate the structural load. So there we will be experiencing two loads here, one is from here and one is from here. Okay, so here we go to code again. As our phi was, one was 36% or 0.36, which lies in the range in between 0.3 to 0.4, in this range, and another one was more than 50%. That means the value to be considered is 2.1, and another one is linear interpolation between 2.8 and 2.3. Okay, so 2.3 to 2.8 it is only 5. So linear interpolation will be giving you result of approximately 2.6. So our value, that means our CF will be our formula says F is equal to CF A PD. F is equal to CF A and PD. Okay, A we need not calculate, will be, again this AE will be how much? Your length into breadth. CF, there are two CFs, one is your 2.6, another one is your 2.1. Okay, and regarding PD we need to calculate. So I hope now the things are clear. In the will be calculating the forces in the board. Okay, now our CF is found out. There are two values of CF. One is your 2.1, another one is 2.5. Actually I told something wrong, it is 2.5. okay, so there are two CFs, one is 2.1 and one is 2.5. For 2.1 we need to consider the height from here, that means the top two heights, it will be applied as 2.1 CF and the bottom three heights will be applied as 2.5. okay, so now next comes to AE or effective area. Effective area is nothing but length into width of the section, L into B. So here we have one plan that why should we directly apply a concentrated force in the middle by taking the length and the width in form of height. Why should not we go for UDL? Because wind load is a UDL, or uniformly distributed load. So how it acts, again just see. Suppose I consider this beam, this is our TR beam which is ISMB 450. ISMB 450 looks like this. This is the depth 450, this is the thickness of flange TF. okay, so when the wind load acts like this, perpendicular to the surface, and it is how much? It is length L into width or height B, that means 450. So if we want a UDL force, we may directly divide here L, so that our force will be, instead of kilonewton, it will be kilonewton per meter. Okay, because instead of area, you see force is F is equal to CF into AE into PD. PD is kilonewton per square meter, AE is square meter, and CF is dimensionless. So square meter generally gets cancelled and you get in kilonewton. But if we divide length here to get UDL, so here instead of square meter you will be finding only meter. So only 1 meter will be cancelled here and the force will be kilonewton per meter. I hope it is understood. Now let us move forward to find out the AE per meter. This will be AE per meter. To find out the AE per meter, we have actually we have to find out the exposed surface. So what are the exposed surfaces? The exposed surfaces, first is your column. The column has an exposure of 450 and 500. Okay, so let us consider for simplicity 500 as a whole for maximum force. Okay, so the area, so the length, whatever the length it may be, so AE have some sub points. For column it will be 0.5 into L divided by L gets cancelled, so it is only 0.5. Let me remove it, I will simply be keeping 0.5. This is 0.5 square meter per meter. Okay. Now comes your TR beam or tie beam, whatever. Let us take it is tie beam. It is 0.45 square meter per meter. Next comes your TR beam or top transverse beam, which is also equal to very same, that is 0.45 meter. Next comes LR beam. This one is 0.8 meter depth, so here it is 0.8 meter. Okay. LR beam, TR beam. Next comes your channel section, channel bracing, MC 250. It comes 0.25 and angle ISA 130. It also comes 0.13. Okay. So once you found out AE, CF is already with you. Now next part is to find out the PD. And to find out PD, you already know that PD is nothing but KD into KA into KC into PZ, where PZ is 0.6 BZ square and BZ is K1, K2, K3, K4, VB. So if we go back calculation, VB I have already given you 39 meter per second. Your K1, it is industrial type structure. Let us find it out from the code. So here the code comes. The structure is a ESP structure is not a important building type structure, right? It is a general building type structure because generally the lifespan of the ESP is considered as 25 years and one structure is assumed to carry 2 ESP. After that, the structure is strengthened or retrofitted or demolished and a new structure is erected. So the ESP structure comes under general building type. If the client specifies it is important, then you have to take 100 years return period or mean probable design life. In our case, we have considered 50 with well agreement with client. So our zone comes under 39 meter per second. That means here it is 1.0. K1 is 1.0. Okay. Now there are different heights. Okay. It is 3.2 meter, 3.5 meter and 3.3 meter. So it comes around, it is not around, it is exactly 10 meter. Okay. Next we go 3.5 and 3.3, that means 6.8. So it is 16.8. Okay. So K2 depends, it has a value up to 10 meter, then 15 meter, then up to 20 meters. So K2 will have two values, up to 10 is 1 and above 10 is 1. So fortunately up to 10 we have our cone or the hopper. So let us go to the code. This gives the K2 value. So one is up to 10, one is 15, one is 20. Our structure is in between 15 to 20 or 16.8. Okay. So we have to linearly interpolate. But thing is that whether it is required to interpolate, because our structure falls under category 4. Because it is industrial type structure, here categories are defined. Our structure falls under category 4 because terrain with numerous large high closely spaced obstructions. Let me remove it. Yes, terrain with numerous large, high, closely spaced obstruction, the equivalent aerodynamic. Okay, so this generally, yes, it is well developed industrial complex. Our structure is located inside the industry and surrounding which just not more than 10 meter height or 25 meter height, more than 30-40 meter height structures are very common structure. Okay, so our structure invariably falls under category 4. So for up to 20 meter we have single constant K2, that is 0.8. Okay, next our structure is on flat ground, so obviously our K3 will be 1. Okay, next comes the K4 factor. You can see the K4 factor for industrial structure code has defined 1.15. Okay, so our K2 comes 0.8, K3 is 1.0 and K4 is 1.15. Okay, so our Vz comes to be how much? Sorry, yes, Vz comes to be 39 into 1 into 0.8 into 1 into 1.15, 35.88. 35.88. So our Pz, which is 0.6 Bz square, comes 772.5 or 0.77 kilonewton per square meter. Our Pz is now found out as 0.77 kilonewton per square meter. Let me remove them. So Pz comes 0.77. Okay, now let us find out Kd, Ka and Kc. Okay, from code here it suggests that after multiplication the entire Pd should not come less than 0.7 Pz. Your Pz is 0.77, so it should not be less than 0.54 overall. Pd should not be less than 0.54 after multiplication with Kd, Ka, Kc. Let us find out Kd, Ka and Kc. Your Kd value is written here. For framework, truss tower, triangular or rectangular, a factor of 0.9 can be taken. Our is a framework structure. It is saying lattice frame. Even also building frames are also coming under this. Building, solid sign, open sign. So our will be 0.9. If it is cyclonic area, then we have to take 1, but 39 meter per second is not a cyclonic area, so it is 0.9. Next comes your Ka. Ka is the pressure coefficient where area averaging factor is there. It says area, your tributary area. In our case we calculated the tributary area 7.5 square meter for bottom frames and more than 7.5 square meter for top frames, or overall we calculated it is approximately 80% of 21 square meter, if you could remember. So it says up to 25 it is 0.9, less than 10 it is 1. Let us, since it is a industrial structure, a little bit higher factor of safety is manageable. So let us keep Ka as 1.0, assuming it is less than 10 square meter. Then comes your Kc. It says Kc for frame structure we find Kc as 0.9. Okay, so your Kd is 0.9, Kc is 0.9 and Ka is 1.0. Okay, let us return to board. Kd is 0.9, Ka is 1.0 and Kc is 0.9. So PD is how much? 0.77 into these factors, subject to it should be greater than 0.54. Okay. It is coming 0.6237, which may be approximated to 0.63, little bit higher approximation, kilonewton per square meter, which is obviously greater than this value. So we can accept as PD 0.63 kilonewton per square meter. Okay, let me remove it to free up the space. PD is 0.63 kilonewton per square meter. Okay, so you have found out your PD, but also code suggests to take a interference factor. Interference means what? There are lots of adjacent structures here and there. So due to that structure, the wind speed varies. So a interference effect is generated. Okay, this is generally taken 25% as per the code. Okay, you can move to the clause number 8.2, where it suggests a roof of low rise building. So it suggests to increase 25%, and as compared to the other structures, 16 meter is a low rise structure for industry. Okay, I will be taking 25%. So PD is further modified 0.63 into 1.25. It comes 0.787 or maybe rounded up to 0.79 kilonewton per square meter. Okay, now you have found out the PD, you have your AE, and you have your CF as well. So you need to calculate the forces. Okay, now I should remove a major part of the calculation to show you how to have the space. Okay, let me free up some space. Now we have your CF is there and your PD is 0.79 kilonewton per square meter. So let us calculate the forces up to 10 meter. Okay, up to 10 meter we will be calculating. We will neglect this consumption as compared to this much of frame. Let us neglect it to simplify the calculation. So because forces will be lesser here, let us take higher forces in this region as well. Okay, so up to 10 meter I am calculating. If you want, you may write it in your note so that during application of force you will not be feeling any issue. First, let us take the structural column. Our column will be how much? Up to 10 meter we will be using the value 2.1. Oh sorry, 2.5, because 2.1 is a lesser value that will be used in higher cases. It will be 2.5. Okay, 2.5 into your PD is F is equal to how much? CF, AE and PD. Okay, our CF is done. AE is 0.5 into PD is 0.79. Okay, it is 0.9875. Let us take 0.99 kilonewton per meter. Here mark that I am only taking the cross sectional depth, I am not taking the length. That is why I am getting the value per meter. Okay, I have already explained it. Now next comes to your tie beam. The same 2.5 will be there, only depth will be 0.45 and value will be also here same you will be finding a value 0.888, that means 0.89 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so next comes your bracing part. ISMC MC 250. In this case, how much? It is 2.5 into 0.25 into 0.79. It comes 0.49. Let us approximate to 0.50 kilonewton per meter. And your angles also come. So ISA, it comes around 130 into 10. It comes how much? 2.5 into 0.13 into 0.79, 0.26 kilonewton per meter per angle. Okay, so up to 10 meter I think you all are clear. Then we will be moving to above 10 meter. So let me remove it. From 10 to 16.8, again let us follow the same sequence. Column will be how much? Your 2.1 into your 0.5 into, it will be PD is 0.79. It comes around 0.83. Next comes your tie beam. Very same, everything is same except, let me do it in a format. It is 0.45 and 0.79. Value will be 0.75. Next comes your, there is no channel, so it will be angle. ISA 130 into 10. It will be same 0.13. It will be coming around 0.215. 215. Okay, but now here comes your LR beam and TR beam. Actually tie is also TR. TR and tie beam both are same, so we need not be bothered about it. But let us write LR beam. LR beam is 800 in depth, so everything is same except here 0.8 into your pressure comes 1.33 kilonewton per meter. Now one important thing is there. We are getting less force due to less area, due to high area. That means high shielding area, we are getting less coefficient, that means 2.1. But why are we getting this less area? Because of the shielding effect of the hopper. So these hoppers will be definitely subjected to wind. Okay, when they will be subjected to wind, so they are ultimately supported on the bearing portion, and bearing is supported on the column portion. So ultimately the wind force of the hopper supported below the bearing will be transferred to column at the top here. Okay, so here you need to find out what are the wind induced pull that the column must resist. Okay, so your hopper length is, for our project, your hopper length is 4.5 meter, and the conical shape here, this shape, total length is 6 meter, and in this direction here also hoppers are there, it is 5 meter in this direction. Okay, and height is same 4.5 for both, and the reduced area here is only 0.6 meter. So what is the effective frontal area of the hopper? Effective frontal area will be how much? A effective will be how much? It will be a trapezoidal shape formula, that will be 14.85. okay, 14.85 for this one, and for this one it will be 12.6 and 14.5. so that hopper load needs to be taken care of by this column. But if manufacturer specifies that hopper wind is taken care of by the bearing, then we need not consider it. Okay, in our case actually the wind force is already taken care of in the bearing, so we need not add it in our practical case. But why I told this? Because when you calculate for several other structures, you may encounter that in that case you need to add extra load on the column top. In the column top you need to add extra load in form of pull. And since hoppers, you see all these forces that act in the face column, okay, in the face column, both in the side and in the lengthwise, but hopper is suspended in the side column, I mean inside the column. So one hopper shares its total load with 4 columns. So accordingly you have to provide the load data. I mean, suppose total load, let us calculate one hopper load instead of column top. Let us calculate one hopper load. Suppose I take one hopper load, it will be coming around 2.1 into your area is 14.85, and your PD will be how much? 0.79. it comes around 24.6. okay, 24.6. and that 24.6, a hopper is, you can see, is suspended from 4 columns, from here, here. If you see the side view from here, that means this 24.6 will be divided to 4 columns. Okay, that means approximately 6.15 in each column. So when this column shares 2 hoppers, that means this column will be subjected to 6.15 into 2, that means 12.3. so the column top will be 12.3. okay, but in our case it is not required, because manufacturers suggest that they have already taken care of the hopper part. Okay, so we need not consider this in our calculation. So I think the entire wind calculation is completed.